A very good morning, everyone. Welcome to StudyIQ English and today's Hindu newspaper class with me. Let's analyze the Hindu newspaper New Delhi edition for today. Today being 13th February 2026. And before I can show you the topics, I was getting a couple of emails in the last few days regarding candidates not being able to find the access to the Telegram channel. So for each one of you who's watching, who is with us, here's the QR code of the Telegram channel. Soon I shall be announcing the Zoom classes as well. That is completely on a group basis and one-on-one basis with regards to the upcoming prelims as well as mains 26 and 27. So it can be scanned from here. And now on to the topics of the day. So we have about 7 topics that we shall be looking into, beginning from the editorial page, that's page number 10. And the first article is related to GS paper 2 because it is about polity and governance. It is also about fundamental duty as well as about key constitutional articles and constitutional provisions with regards to India's national song, Vande Mataram. And before we start with the first article, let me quickly, as a protocol, welcome all my dear students who have joined us, including Sumed and Satya, including Shakti, Adi, Kunij, and Kamanya, Kritik, Terukula, Madhav. Okay, many more code names out there. Then Shlok and Abhay, Kaizen, Zahir is here with us today. I'm so happy to meet you, Abhay. And Eric is here. Then Ramu is here, of course. Sita Ram is here with us. And who else? Santosh is here. Reshma has joined. Aman has joined. Okay, Zahir has joined. Shakti, Ashish, Rajveer has joined. Chandu has joined. Akhtar has joined. A very good morning to each one of you. Yes, absolutely. What a beautiful note to start on, Ashish. Good morning, everyone. And as we wait for our other students, let's quickly proceed with the first article for the day. Yes, editorial article. What does the article say, bache? Very good morning, AB. Whatever is your problem, bacha, let me know. We'll try to figure out a solution for you. Okay? Good morning, everyone. Okay. Can any other student help AB regarding the ad blocker? If we can, then I shall be really grateful. Otherwise, I'll have to speak to the backend team and find a solution for the problem. Let me find out. Okay? All right. Okay, then. Let's start with the first article. So let's put all focus here. This article is coming from GS Paper 2 Polity, and the article says on January 28th, 2026, that's about last month, the Ministry of Home Affairs ordered that all 6 paragraph, all 6 stanza of the Vande Mataram will be played at official functions, with people required to stand in complete attention, showing full respect to the national song. This article is today arguing, is this a valid thing to do? Is this valid, or does it create a conflict with constitutional principles of secularism? Now, secularism, a very important ideal that we practice in India as a part of our preamble. It was added back in 1976 during the Indira Gandhi regime as a part of 42nd Amendment Act, that is also called as mini constitution. Secularism. India practices a version of secularism that is known as soft secularism or positive secularism. Very unlike the Western concept of secularism, which is known as negative or hard secularism. We in India believe that the government can interfere in the life of religious communities, in religious rituals, when the government feels there is a time to do some change, some reform for the betterment of society. In India, the key article in the constitution that deals with this is Article 25. I always say, my bacha, remember, is as PPP, right to freely practice, propagate, and preach your religion, your culture, your minority language. So it is Article 25 of the Indian Constitution. Yes, but If there is Article 25 that provides you a liberty to practice your religion and culture, there is Article 25(1) and Article 25(2), which also say that in India, our version of secularism means the government and the religion are not strictly separated from each other. In India, we do not believe in non-interventionist secularism. Unlike the Western countries, we believe in non-discriminatory version of secularism, known as flexible, positive, and soft secularism. Yes, and that's why India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Article is asking, making people to stand in attention and making people to sing six stanza of Vande Mataram, is it in line with this kind of secularism where the Indian government does not discriminate among any religion? India is a highly multilinguistic, multi-religious, polycultural, secular society. And the government says each and every religion is equal in the eyes of the law and everyone is subjected to same fundamental rights and everybody is a valid citizen of India irrespective of their religious or their cultural affiliation. Article 14 to Article 21 to Article 32 to be applied to every citizen. And yet, by making the sixth stanza compulsory, are we questioning this secularism, freedom of expression, freedom of speech and expression, Article 19(1)(a, and the freedom of religion, Article 25. All these articles are being questioned here. So what's the historical background of this controversy? Let's look at 1937. During 1937, Congress Working Committee had taken a decision. In 1937, leaders like Rajendra Prasad, leaders like the first Home Minister of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, then Mahatma Gandhi, and all other leaders decided that only the first two stanzas of Vande Mataram should be sung at official gatherings, okay? So only the first two para or the first two stanzas will be sung. Why was the reason for this? The reason is the later four stanzas, total there are six. 1937 Congress says, let us sing only two. Because if we sing all of them, then they may contain references to one specific religion, and that is Hinduism. Hindu goddesses like Devi Saraswati, Devi Durga, and Devi Lakshmi are being explicitly addressed and revered in the remaining stanzas of the Vande Mataram. And limiting it to two stanzas mean we are being religiously neutral. We are not imposing one religion on all other minorities. That's what was said by the Congress in 1937. Then much later, in 1950, when Indian government formally enforced and adopted the Indian Constitution on January 24th, especially 1950, the government of India, the newly independent Indian government said, Jan Gan Man will be the national anthem. Yes, Vande Mataram will be the national song, but only the first two paragraphs, and the Constituent Assembly deliberately excluded the remaining four stanzas of Vande Mataram. Now, what is the current constitutional and legal position on that? Now, as Ramu was mentioning, indeed it is related to Article 51A, India's fundamental duty. We all know the Swaran Singh Committee. We all understand India initially had about 10 fundamental duties, but much later we added another fundamental duty. Today that's related to encouraging parents to educate their children by respecting the fundamental right 21A, right to free and compulsory education from 6 to 14 years. Now we have 11 fundamental duties, yes, but fundamental duties are typically covered in Article 51A. Yesterday, you and I have looked at one fundamental duty named as Article 51AA, and quite recently all of us have together studied another fundamental duty under Article 51AG. Very good Vikash and very good Pranarthi. Excellent Santosh Bachche. Correct. Today, the controversy is coming from the fact that under fundamental duties, Article 51A, we have another fundamental duty, Article 51AA. That means every Indian citizen has to show respect and devotion and complete reverence towards national symbols. What are these national symbols? These national symbols typically include the national flag of India, the revered national anthem of India, and the Honorable Constitution of India. But there is no explicit mention here of the national song Vande Mataram. The Constituent Assembly had therefore also kept it outside the fundamental duty for a very long time, because national song is not mentioned in the part of fundamental duty, Article 51AA. But does that mean that we do not respect the national song? It doesn't mean we do not respect. All we are trying to say that we are not obliged to sing all the six stanzas under National Honours Act 1971, because these mean only three aspects: the anthem, the flag, and the constitution. There is no clear mention in the act about the national song at all, and therefore there is no legal obligation to sing all the six stanzas of Vande Mataram or to stand in reverence for the national song. Now let's look at a very interesting Supreme Court case controversy. My students know about it, just a revision. Now, Supreme Court of India long back in 1986 had maintained a position in a very famous court case from Kerala, and that court case is named as Baijo Emmanuel case. Baijo Emmanuel case versus the state of Kerala. What happened in this case, bache? In this case, there were three students, okay? Three students coming from a particular school who were standing in respect. They were standing very respectfully, but they did not from their mouth sing Vande Mataram. Not Vande Mataram, even the national anthem. Let alone Vande Mataram, they did not sing. They did not sing the national anthem. Now, national anthem is covered under National Honours Act. Under Article 51AA, it is our fundamental duty to show reverence to national anthem. But these three students of a particular school, they did not sing the national anthem, but they stood very quietly. Absolutely, Pranarati. They stood very quietly. Now, all these three students were later on removed from the school. It was said that they refused to fulfill their fundamental duty. They did not show national honor towards the national anthem. They refused to sing that song. What did the Supreme Court say here? The Supreme Court said, no, you cannot remove these children from school, because under Article 19(1)(a), these children have a fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression, and freedom of expression also includes silence. Now, this is very interesting. Freedom of speech and expression under Article 19(1)(a) also includes silence. So therefore, these children have done nothing wrong. Plus, they have another fundamental right under Article 25, the right to practice, preach and profess their respective religion. They were standing respectfully, and that shows enough respect. They were not misbehaving. They were not insulting. They were standing with utmost silence, and that comes under their right to free speech and expression, because citizens are supposed to show respect to national symbols. We cannot force them to forcefully sing patriotic songs. Which constitutional principles are invoked here? Definitely Article 19(1)(a), right to free speech and expression. Definitely freedom of religion, Article 25 PPP. The ideal of secularism, India's preamble. Yes, individual conscience. Therefore, this article argues, when the Supreme Court itself has protected these children under 19(1)(a), what right does the ruling government have today in forcing every Indian citizen at various public gatherings to sing all six stanzas of the national song, when it is legally not even mandatory under the National Honours Act 1971. If singing national anthem cannot be forced upon citizens, then why and who are we to force the singing of national song? It doesn't even have a legal or a constitutional protection. It cannot be enforced on people. So what's the key argument of this article? The author of this article is questioning the order coming from the Home Ministry of India. It says this new principle and logic of singing all 6 stanzas by everyone totally reverses the mandate of 1937 Congress Working Committee. It negates Supreme Court jurisdiction in the case of 1986 Baijo Emmanuel case. It totally ignores the intent of Constitution Assembly itself, thereby questioning fundamental rights like Article 25 and Article 19(1)(a) and Article 14 as well. It has raised today a major question about forced participation when it comes to patriotic symbols that carry a deeply religious theme and a deeply religious base verses. So that's the controversy all about. Now let's quickly have a look at the question here. Thank you, Terukula, for reminding us about the case. Wonderful. Thank you. Yes, totally, Satya. I so agree. And Ramu, that's a wonderful comment made by you. It's also about the freedom of conscience and religion. Totally. All the fundamental rights from 25 to 30 are specifically meant to protect religious diversity in India. Absolutely, Saurav. Nationalism or patriotism can never be an enforced project. It has to be an inner vibration. Absolutely. Very good. Also, an ethical question there for GS paper 4. Now, quickly the question. With reference to Vande Mataram and constitutional provisions in India, consider these statements. 1. The Constituent Assembly adopted all 6 stanzas of Vande Mataram as the national song of India. 2. The Prevention of Insults to National Honours Act 1971 provides a legal protection to both the anthem and the song. And 3. The Supreme Court in the Baijo Emmanuel case 1986 held that standing respectfully without singing national anthem does not amount to disrespect. Which of these statements here are valid? From Urupam to Aman to Hika to Akhtar to my dear Rajnishwar, Vaibhav, Sitaram, Santosh, Sumedh, and Eric, all initiated from Terukula, Aspirant, Reshma, Shlok, Vikas, Shakti, Sadhana, Adi. Most students are saying that the answer should be B. Absolutely sure. So therefore, there's no need for any split verdict, and we have a clear-cut majority, and this majority definitely deserves a big round of applause for answering the question so properly with such a great confidence. Indeed, here B is the valid answer. So no matter how much I'm trying to confuse you by highlighting the wrong answer, you still have selected B. Of course, here, third is the only valid statement. The first statement is wrong because throughout the Constituent Assembly never made it compulsory to sing 6 stanzas but only 2 of these stanzas. Then second is also invalid. Under this 1971 Act, we only acknowledge 3 aspects: the honorable flag, the anthem, and the constitution. There is no explicit mention of the song. So therefore, third is the only valid statement. So my trick did not work here, and all of you have made me proud. Yes, Ramu, it's a highly outdated trick, I'm sure now. And everybody says B. Absolutely correct answer. Wonderful. Kudos to you. Well done. Anybody has any mildest of confusion, feel free, bacha, to ask your doubt. I will come back and explain it to you. When I mean everybody, everybody should understand. With the slightest of doubt, this is your platform. So please ask, okay? I'll be happy to address your doubts. Okay. Second article is also, okay, Shlok. Second article is also editorial. This is page number 10. Let us focus a little bit more sincerely. All right. I will have to now do a little bit upgradation of my game. Yes, my students are becoming intellectually very witty now. Okay, second article. The hidden cost of insurance distribution. Small article, but raises bigger questions. This can be related to GS paper 3. We are looking at an aspect of Indian economy. Insurance policies, the premiums, as well as the distribution cost, as well as how many people participate in the insurance, and then of course GS paper 2 as well, because we are looking at health sector in India. By now everybody has understood, I'm sure, that we as an economy, which is the 4th largest economy in the world globally, is unfortunately spending much lower than 5% of our GDP into healthcare sector. In fact, it's not even 2.5%, and that's very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Having said that, there is another thing that is very unfortunate. Now, in India, very few people actually are covered by insurance, whether it's government insurance through LIC, GIC, or whether it's private company insurance. Very few people in India take insurance policy. Many people are not aware. There is a lack of last mile connectivity. Many people do not think it's necessary. The culture of out of pocket expenditure is very, very predominant in India. What is out of pocket? This is one major reason for poverty in India. Intergenerational poverty, that people do experience illness, people do fall sick. India is now becoming a leader in the world when it comes to non communicable diseases, including some very chronic diseases like, say, diabetes, cardiac problem, cancers, or the communicable ones like tuberculosis, say the deaths that happen because of food poisoning. These are very common in any country, in any developing country like India, but people are not covered in insurance. And when you look at the government initiative, as Reshma says, the grim reminder, 0.2%, 0.2, 0.6% of GDP goes into healthcare. That means even if it was made compulsory under the National Health Policy 2017 or by the Joseph Bhore Committee, we barely have any such provision like proper, regular, updated public healthcare system. So people have to spend money out of their own pocket and treatments are very expensive. That means people definitely become poorer and they have to borrow money for getting treatment. This is called out of pocket expenditure. While this is impacting everyone, including the middle class consumers, but the worst hit here becomes the vulnerable communities. They are very badly hit here. Yes. Having said that, this article is asking about the hidden cost of insurance. Why in India is insurance so low? And what can we do to improve the situation? Let's start the article by first looking at the data. Now, the data says in financial year 2025, India's life insurance industry had already paid about rupees 60,799 crore rupees as commission. Can you imagine? Rupees 60,000 crore as commission was paid by life insurance industry in India. Does this highlight a problem? Yes. The commission is growing day by day. If you look at the growth, it has grown by 18%. But if you look at the premium, the amount of money that comes from consumers, that is very slow. It is growing only by 6.7%. What does this mean? This means the cost of distribution. Look here. The cost of distribution of insurance is rising much faster than the growth of insurance business itself. It is not a profitable business anymore, and the Reserve Bank of India has highlighted this concern in a report called Financial Stability Report in 2025. Now, before I proceed with this article, a quick question to everyone. Bacha, how many types of insurance are there? How do you categorize types of insurance? So, insurance is broadly characterized into life insurance and general insurance. But how many types of life insurance are there? What is life insurance? Life insurance means which provides you financial protection against your life, a person's life, to the family of the person in the case of death. It is often also sometimes called as long-term saving and investment tool. How many types of life insurance are there in India? Many types. Which are the most common? Term insurance, the most common. Then comes endowment policy, whole life insurance. Then comes unit linked insurance plan and annuity or pension plan. Very good. How many types of general insurance are there? What are general insurance? These are non-life insurance. Sometimes you don't get your life insured, but you usually take other types of insurance like health insurance, car or motor insurance, fire insurance, property insurance, marine insurance. All these are also very common, but these are meant for a fixed period. They are not lifetime. They are typically for a period of 1 year. After that, you have to renew them. These are the most common kind of insurance that you have in India. Yes, they provide you either protection against your life or protection against various capital assets that you own. But if you look at a total estimate coming from our society in 2026, you will not be happy to know. You will not be happy to know that life insurance penetration in India is 2.7% of GDP. How much is that? 2.7% of GDP. What is this? This is life insurance reach in India. It is barely 2.7% of GDP. And if you look at the total insurance penetration, life plus general, it is very, very low again. So total insurance is about 3.7% of GDP only. That means majority of people in India still believe in spending money from the pocket or taking a loan. They do not believe in purchasing an insurance coverage, insurance policy, and this is very low as compared to developed countries. Now, this article is raising a question: is the insurance business even profitable in India? Sadly, it is not. Why? Let's look at the debate between public versus private insurers in India. Now, if you look at a debate between public and private insurance companies in India, this article is highlighting a clear gap between both. If you look at LIC, Life Insurance Cooperation, somebody just said Jeevan Bima. Yeah, true. That's the common Hindi colloquial word that we use for that. So, life insurance, LIC. This is an agency based model. We all understand. It is an agency based model. You have to use agents who will provide you details and finally provide you the insurance cover. Now, this is a more profitable business. Yes, as compared to private companies, there is more profit in the case of LIC. The model is more profitable. How? LIC is getting about 95% of its work, 95% of its business done from agents. The commission ratio, although has been high, but it has reduced from 5.45% to only 5.17%. That shows much better cost discipline in the case of LIC. What about private insurers? Now, they are having a major problem here. If you look at private insurance, alternate insurance channels, they depend on banks more. The word that we use for this is known as bancassurance. I'll write it here. This word is known as bancassurance. What is bancassurance? When banks start selling insurance. Banks selling insurance. This is known as bancassurance. Learn this word, bancassurance. Private companies totally depend on bancassurance and brokers or insurance marketing firms. Example, I am an insurance policy company. I want my policy to be purchased by people in India on a wide scale. Can I reach to these consumers directly? No, I don't even have the data to do that. Then who can give me the good data? Banks can give me data. Banks have too much data. Banks have too much data about consumers, their financial status. At the same time, not just banks, many private insurance selling companies have too much more data. So rather than reaching out to consumers on my own, I will go through these intermediaries. I will have to hire either insurance market companies or I will have to request commercial banks to start selling my policies for me. And in return, what benefit do I get? Whatever commission comes, whatever commission is received, I will have to send a share of that commission either to this bank or to these private marketing companies because they are the ones who are selling my product for me. Without them, I cannot sell these products. That is the common reality in private sector. And what is the result of that? Result is that the commission cost becomes too much. As an insurance provider, the amount of money I'm paying to the banks and to private marketing companies for selling my insurance policies becomes too high. In India, it has come from 7% to 8.95%. And commission payouts have also increased by about 39% in the last few years. If you look at a 202 basis point gap, then there is a major gap between private and public insurers because of the heavy cost that is involved in distribution channel structure. What is the role of bargaining power here? Let's understand. Now, for example, around 26 insurers. In India, it's very common. Multiple insurance policy sellers are trying to create partnership with commercial banks. But it is the banks that have a monopoly here. Banks have a data of multiple thousands of consumers. Banks have 4 lakh and more branches. They have a very strong bargaining power. People trust the banks more than private companies or private policies. And what happens now? Insurers keep running behind the banks to endorse their policies for them. They keep promising higher commission to these banks. Please sell my policy to your consumers and I will give you a higher commission. They keep changing from one bank to another. They keep running from one branch to another. And the cost that the insurance companies are spending on hiring these banks, maintaining relations with these banks, and giving them commission is so high that overall insurance as a business is a faulty business. It is not a profit making business at all. Market structure and incentive design is the reason responsible behind high cost of insurance. A lot of people blame the agents. People say it is the agent that is taking most of the benefit. Not in reality. It doesn't happen like that. Agents are not the ones who get the benefit. Mostly it is the banks who derive a heavy profit from this structure. Now, how has the system in this entire field changed? Earlier, if you look at IRDAI, the insurance regulatory body in India, okay, if you look at the insurance regulatory body in India, it has done some changes now. What kind of changes are these? Earlier, the IRDAI used to tell the banks, these people used to tell the insurance selling companies that you just do one thing. You try to maintain product wise cap, upper limit. For example, if you are selling one policy, there is a limited amount of money that you can invest, that you can spend on that policy. So product by product, there is an upper limit to the amount of money you spend. This is a rule imposed on all insurance policy providers. If I am selling two policies, there is an upper limit. Suppose 50 rupees for each, 100 is the upper limit. Now rules have changed completely. More flexibility has been given by IRDAI to insurance policy makers. Now they are saying, I give you an upper cap of 10,000 rupees. Within this 10,000 rupees, you design your insurance policy price the way you want to. If you want to sell one policy for 50 rupees, it's okay. If you want to sell it for 200 rupees, that's also okay. If you want to sell it for 300 rupees, that's also okay. Make sure you do not cross the upper limit 10,000. So what happens earlier? Many costs were being borne by the insurance providers. These were the hidden costs. Marketing, creating, advertising. Now, all of these become a part of the commission of the sellers. Transparency has improved, but the overall budgetary limit has not improved. So what is the change here? Let me explain more clearly. Earlier, the IRDAI, Insurance Regulatory and Development Board, absolutely, Ramu. It used to control the commission by fixing maximum commission limit for each insurance policy sold. This means every policy had an upper limit. Beyond that, you can't expect the consumer to pay. And insurers could not exceed that limit, no matter what is your distribution channel. Now that has changed. Now that has totally changed. What is the change now? Today, what is happening? We are not fixing the upper limit per product. We are giving a total upper limit budget to these insurance company. Now, what happens? They have more flexibility, greater managerial autonomy, freedom to decide how much to spend per policy. But the problem is all their expenses, whether it is commission, whether it is marketing, administrative, advertising or distribution, everything has to be controlled within one upper limit. For example, 10,000 total. So what has changed in practice? Article is saying nothing much has changed. Only very superficial change has happened. But the total budget has still not changed. That means insurance policy makers will still not get any much profit from insurance business. There is no profit that is to be really achieved by them. Although transparency has increased, but actual distribution cost remains to be the same. They are still paying too much money to the banks, too much money to private companies to sell their products to the people. And who is getting the real benefit? Banks. Agents are not getting anything. Agents on an average are receiving 35% of the commission, but the largest share is going to either banks or to insurance marketing companies. So both are losers here. Insurance policy making company is also not getting anything. Agent is also not getting anything. Who gets the benefit? Bank, because bank is the one that provides data. It creates a distribution network, or a private marketing company who is giving customers, who is providing consumer data, is getting the real benefit. And this is a case of institutional domination, institutional distribution dominance. Those who have the data, intermediaries are getting majority of the profit. Very good, charmer. Intermediary stands to gain here. Neither the insurance policy company, nor the agent, nor the consumer. That is the real problem. Solutions. What about solutions? Now, if we say today that let us take back the commission from Now, the biggest problem here is that, see, if you tell the banks that we are not giving you too much money, we will control the commission that we give you. Even when you are ready to sell our policy, the banks may withdraw. The banks may start luring other policy makers. The market is monopolistic, monopolized by banks. So who will lose? Again, insurance provider will lose. Another problem is, if you start being very open about how much money is the agent earning, if you disclose it to the consumer that don't trouble the agent is only getting 35% of the profit, then what happens? The problem now is that people will start negotiating directly with the agent. Once they know agent gets a certain amount of profit, they will keep troubling the agent again and again, give us more discount. If you are getting 20,000 in a policy, you take 15,000, give us extra 5,000 discount. That means it will become an informal bargaining market, and that's not what we want. Similarly, if you tell people that, agents and intermediaries are the ones whose commission should be reduced, then who will participate in this job? How many agents will actually willingly take up this job? Hardly anybody. When there are lesser agents, again there is less awareness about insurance. So it becomes like a chicken egg situation. What to do? Should you control the commission taken by agent? That will mean lesser people reaching out to public. If you control commission given to banks will not participate. If you disclose agent income, people will trouble the agent to give more discount. So all in all, it is not a profitable business at all. And the more open architecture that you are trying to create, the more problems we are facing right now. Now, distributors can easily switch insurers. There is one more problem. Now, distributors have a discretion here. Today, banks and agents have so much variety. There are about hundreds of insurance policy making companies. It's a full market. They will keep taking any company whom they prefer. So, any company who tries to reduce their profit, any company who tries to benefit their customer, will actually stand to face a loss. They will never get any person who will endorse their products. No marketeer for them, no bank for them. So anyway, it becomes a problematic. Now, can we have a solution for this kind of catch-22 situation, Shlok? Can we have a solution to this problem, Satya, Sumed? Yes, some solutions are there as per this article. This article says, let us do one thing. In India, it is very common that we have created a system that is called front-loaded payment system. What is the front-loaded payment system? What is the system? Usually what happens that companies are giving these agents immediate profit as soon as they are able to sell a policy. But over a period of time, the profit that the agent gets becomes less and less and less. Article says, as soon as an agent or a bank is able to sell a policy, don't quickly give them all the profit. Don't give them suddenly too much money. Make sure you give them profit year after another, making sure that the policy continues also. The consumer who has purchased the policy keeps on paying for the policy also. It is very easy to sell a policy. Example, I am an agent. I purchase the policy from a company. I sell it to you. Right? The company will give me tremendous profit. 2 lakh rupees, for example. I am done. I got my profit. Now I am not even interested in following it up with you as a consumer, whether you will keep on paying the money or not. What happens eventually? Policy is lapsing. And then who stands to lose? The company also, the consumer also. As an agent, I run away with my small amount of income. For me also in future, no income guarantee, plus the trust also gets lost. Next time, the same consumer will not trust me. Insurance policy company will also not trust an agent like me who took the profit and ran away. Is there a solution? Yes. Rather than giving immediate profit, that is called front loaded payment, I must start giving payment slowly and slowly to prevent defaulting. Don't pay the commission too much in the first year to the agent. Make sure the agent is in touch with the consumer. I am in touch with you. And the policy continues. I keep encouraging you to keep paying your premiums on time. That is how the policy will also continue. You will also get the benefit. My income will also be stable over a period of time. And the company who makes these policies is also in benefit. Plus, the culture of insurance catches up in India. So, what happens now? Agents must earn more money only if the consumer continues the policy rather than giving them a front loaded payment at once. That is not benefiting anybody. This needs a joint initiative, not just from IRDAI but also from RBI, to also make sure bancassurance, banks giving insurance, maintain this policy as well, which can keep pushing up uptake of more insurance. Now, if you have a joint oversight from IRDAI and RBI, reasonable distribution cost can be ensured, more awareness can be ensured, consumers can be protected. So that is what we need to do right now. Persistent insurance coverage is what we require. Whether you give it through bank, it's okay. Whether you give it through agent, it's okay. But change your methodology. Don't do front loaded payment, and make sure defaulting is minimal. At the same time, also make sure that people are encouraged to keep on paying the premiums, making them understand the risk of OOP, out of pocket expenditure. That is what this article is actually trying to argue. The larger concern of this article is that if most of the money gets wasted in distribution channel, then insurance policy companies will always be in a loss. If the insurance policy making company keeps on spending more money on bank assurance to distribute, private advertising companies to distribute, then the amount of money they are left with to take care of their consumers, to give value to their consumers, also comes down. So why should we waste money on intermediaries, on distribution network? Why can't we keep this money to keep on giving more valuable outcomes to the consumer? That is why people will be encouraged to purchase more and more policy. Ultimately, insurance penetration in India has fallen down from 4% to 3.7% of GDP in financial year 2024. If you want more insurance penetration, revise the structure itself. Don't get the money leaked out in distribution. Have a better methodology through IRDAI and RBI coordination, so that both the policymaker is benefited, consumer is benefited. Intermediaries get some money, but they can't fool either the consumers, they can't rob the money even from the producers. That's what is the pitch of this article. I hope it's clear. I hope it's clear. Lack of awareness among consumers. Absolutely. Totally. Ultimately, the more fear you create among people about OOP, which is a very valid fear, by the way, the more they will adopt insurance, provided they should also see some benefit in that policy. Benefit can't come if only the intermediaries like banks keep on getting fat with the profit, and ultimately both poles are losing. Makers are also losing, consumers are also losing. That's not going to help. Yes, absolutely. I hope it's more clear now. Okay. Yes, absolutely. They must frighten people. It's a good idea to frighten. Okay, Shlok has a premonition. He says a split might come. Let's see, Saurav, what happens. With reference to life insurance in India, consider these statements. One, the expense of management framework, that means the amount of money you spend on distribution and management, introduced by IRDAI, aims to provide insurers greater flexibility in managing overall expenses instead of imposing a product-wise commission cap. Rather than, rather than putting an upper cap on per policy that you spend, that you sell, they are saying there is an upper budgetary cap. Now you keep on deciding how much you want to price per policy. Second, bank assurance refers to the distribution of insurance products through banks acting as intermediaries. And three, insurance penetration in India is measured as the ratio of total insurance premiums to GDP. Which of these statements are correct? Thank you so much, Umang. Which of these statements are correct? Shlok has such a valid premonition. Shlok, what is this? You scared me? Any kind of supernatural power? Any kind of clairvoyance? How could you predict? How could you predict? Okay, prediction came true. Oh my god, that's scary. Indeed, we have a split verdict. Time for the Lokpal. Time for the Lokpal. Some are saying B, some are saying C, some are saying A. It's a completely fractured verdict, by the way. So, what to do? Which of these statements are valid then? A, B or C or D? D, though nobody is saying, let me eliminate D, but A, B, C are confusing us in a big way. 1, 2 and 3 all are correct, or only 1 and 2 are correct? Yes, Sumed, Iba, everyone's laughing. Now everyone is suspicious of Shlok. Shlok, what is this? What kind of a clairvoyance was that? Yes, aspirant Reshma, Vikash. Some are saying B, some are saying C. Lokpal has to be invoked. Yes, Titara, Terukula, Hika, everyone is coming with a different response. Okay, but the Lokpal is also a human at the end of the day. Sometimes the Lokpal also enjoys playing intellectual gimmicks with the students. Lokpal always cannot be committed. Lokpal must sometimes act with discretion. So Lokpal will act with discretion. First statement is valid. Totally wrong. Valid or correct? Correct. Totally correct. First statement is correct. That's what I spoke about. What is the new change? The new change is insurers are getting now flexibility. You can decide whatever price you want to sell your premium per capita premium. Decide. But overall budget has to be fixed. So product wise, we are not imposing any caps. Correct. First is correct. That means C can be also eliminated. Now between A and B, we have a battle. Second, what is bank assurance? Is it the distribution of insurance through banks? Totally correct. 3. Insurance premium in India is measured as the ratio of total insurance premium to GDP. I don't know. Why should I know everything? Why should I know everything? I'm a human as well. Keep this on a hold. To be discussed at the end of the class. Lokpal's discretionary power invoked. Let's proceed with the third article of the day. Yes, deja vu is happening. Whatever is happening, whatever psychological phenomena is happening, the more you get confused, the more you remember. It's a psychology trick. Yes, so we'll keep this on a hold. Yes, absolutely. What? No, no. We will discuss this at the end of the lecture. So hold on there. Okay. All right. Let's proceed with the next article quickly. This is slightly more interesting. Yeah, the fear is real now. So hold on to that fear, hold on to the suspense, okay? Then we'll come to know who was right, A or B. Okay. The third article. A case against Shanti Act. Now, Shanti Act is something we all have studied before. And I remember when I initially was talking about the Shanti Act, I still can't get over Eric's comment when he said that we are trying to privatize, liberalize, and open up India's nuclear domain. Yes, we were doing that. Now, Shanti Act. The key amendment in 2026 that we are imposing towards India's nuclear power rules. So which GS topic can we associate this with? We can associate this with GS paper 3 because we are looking at nuclear energy. Nuclear energy in India currently contributes only to 8% of our total energy landscape. But we know that we have a target by 2047 and the target is to reach about 100 gigawatts of capacity by 2047. That's the overall target that India has. Very good, Santosh. Why? Because we need this kind of nuclear energy to slowly transition towards the renewable energy sector, because we do understand that solar energy or hydro energy or wind energy, they all have their limitations. And therefore, we must also provide a nuclear energy landscape towards clean and green energy. Totally. Yes, completely, Vikash. Well done. A major part of the Shanti Act is it replaces two earlier existing acts. One is the Civil Nuclear Liabilities, that is 2010, and the other is Atomic Energy Act 1982. Excellent. Very well said. More than that, we are also trying to enable private investment now by removing supplier liability. Yes? Yes? Yes, this time I'm behaving like that. Sanghamitra, good. At least two more things you are reminded of. Now, quickly, also in your mind, think about Rajya Sabha, think about the chairperson of Rajya Sabha, think out the recent controversy. Okay, very good. Very good. Yes, totally, Madhav. I agree. Sometimes I become too discretionary. That's fine. Okay. Let's quickly proceed now. Quickly with this article discussion. Okay, so what is the pitch of this article? You have done a similar theme before, so allow me 5-6 minutes for this one. Focus, please. The main point this article is making is regarding the Shanti Act of 2026. What is the Shanti Act all about? We just saw Shanti Act replaces two earlier existing acts also, the Atomic Energy one and the Civil Nuclear Liabilities one. Broadly, the aim behind Shanti Act is to allow private companies to operate nuclear power plants in India to reduce the legal responsibility, to reduce the liability of suppliers and operators in the case of nuclear accidents. Yes, that's the main idea. Now, the writer of this article is saying this has a danger. Danger, very good, AB. It has a danger. It may predispose us to more nuclear accidents by reducing liability towards safety and accountability. Although it will increase commercial opportunities for private companies, for foreign companies, recently President Trump has also shown interest in participating in India's nuclear energy domain. And under this act, India will also improve establishment of 5 more small nuclear reactors. India will explore the possibility of thorium salt water reactor. All these are good developments towards privatization, but the danger is real by reducing the liability, the responsibility of suppliers in the case of an accident tomorrow. We are predisposing public to a much higher risk. And in India, post disaster risk management has always been very poor. Satya, you spoke my words out. I was going to mention the 1985 1984 Bhopal gas tragedy. There also, till date, many of the sites are abandoned. Same thing happens in Japan, Fukushima. Same thing happened in Russia, Chernobyl. All these sites, even today, are associated with a much higher risk of passive radioactive leakage. And people have been predisposed to nuclear radioactivity, very dangerous, very lethal in nature, related to intergenerational disabilities. And still, we are opening up our nuclear energy segment towards limited supplier responsibility. Is that not a risk? It is a major risk. So, what are the key changes coming under the Shanti Act? Okay. What are the key changes? Let's look at all 3 major changes quickly one by one. Very good, Vikash. That's kind of you to remind. Yes, methyl isocyanate was the gas behind Bhopal gas tragedy. Absolutely. Quickly, the 3 changes. First change, private entry is coming in the nuclear sector. I'm again reminded of Eric's comment. Earlier, nuclear plants were operated by, no, not at all, Nigam. I would never do that. Bache, everyone is equally special to me, equally close to me. I'd never do that. I'm sorry by mistake if I skipped it. A very good morning to you, my dear. I didn't have any intention to. Okay, now let's focus here, please. The 3 main ideas of the article. Private entry into nuclear sector. Earlier, nuclear power plants were mainly operated by the government. Now, what has happened? Now, private companies can operate nuclear power plant. One thing is very clear. Second, changes in liability rules focus. Liabilities for accidents is mostly now on plant operator. Now, this is a dangerous clause here. When you are saying it is very scary, yes, it can be very scary. It can be very dangerous because without liability, who? Who will be responsible in case tomorrow a major tragedy happens? It is not easy. To operate a nuclear power plant, accidents are highly likely. It is equally unsafe to dispose nuclear waste. Again, a very key area of argument. Typically, the protocols regarding nuclear waste disposal are very strict. Sometimes there are scientific procedures involved. You have to glass bind in a non-leakage, heat-proof, waterproof glass. You'll have to bind the nuclear waste inside glass surfaces and then throw it in the ocean. Those are the kind of dangerous practices that are involved in nuclear waste disposal. Now, what are we saying? We are saying that responsibility, blames for any kind of nuclear accident will not be on the supplier of nuclear material. Suppose if the material is coming to us from America and tomorrow an accident happens, the supplier of America will not be responsible. Who will be responsible? Yes, the owners will be liable. The plant operator will have to face the repercussion of that. That means the right of recourse has now been removed. Operators cannot sue, operators cannot blame the suppliers for defective equipment, and that is dangerous. Very dangerous. This also questions clause 46 of the Civil Nuclear Liability Act. How and what is this act all about? Listen carefully. What has happened right now? The operator of the nuclear power plant will have to be liable and answerable to the loss or accident up to an amount from 100 crore rupees to 3000 crore rupees. But the total liability has been fixated at a cap of 3900 crore rupees, not more than that. Not more than that. And the clause 48 of the Civil Nuclear Liability Act has also been removed. But what is this clause all about? Does anybody know what is clause 46? So listen carefully. Under clause 46 of the Civil Nuclear Liability Act, a victim of a nuclear accident A victim of a nuclear accident can use other laws, including criminal laws, to seek compensation or to give punishment to the one who is responsible. You can do that. Under this clause 46, if you are not being taken care of and you are the victim of a radioactivity episode or any kind of nuclear fallout disaster, then you can invoke other criminal laws in India, perhaps even under Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023, to seek compensation or to get the people who are responsible punished thoroughly. But now clause 46 is being removed. So what happens now? When this is being removed, the victim's ability to use other laws to get compensation and justice are also getting reduced. And this is very dangerous because the civil liabilities for nuclear damage 2010 under clause 46 was exactly trying to provide that. Once this clause has been removed, what will happen now? A victim can never seek compensation, or a victim can never use normal other criminal laws to seek justice for the accident they have experienced. And that is a very dangerous precedent that we are trying to overlay. Third thing is about nuclear regulator framework. What is going on? This act has created a statutory, a legal basis for creating atomic energy regulatory board, the AERB. Yes, AERB is getting created now. But the problem is, it is not independent. Its autonomy is under question. It will be selected by the Atomic Energy Commission. So when autonomy is not there, then 100% there can be no independent decisions taken by this board either. And why are these things so controversial? Because if you look at all the global examples across the world, you may realize one thing. World has experienced many kind of nuclear tragedies. You all spoke about the Bhopal gas tragedy, right? But that was still a localized tragedy. Now look at the more grave tragedies like the very famous 3 Mile Island tragedy. 3 Mile Island tragedy. This happened in 1979 in America, leading to so many people getting victimized with radioactivity. Similarly, the 1986 Russian episode, Chernobyl disaster, absolutely. The Chernobyl disaster. Then Japan 2011, at the coastal area, what happened because of tsunami and earthquake. The nuclear power plant at Fukushima also got melted. And the melting of this created a radioactivity risk. For a very long time, it was abandoned. Now, after this episode, Japan was so scared that from 2011 until 2025, Japan never created a nuclear power plant ever again. Ever. It never created a nuclear power plant ever again. In fact, the site was abandoned, and till date, people are afraid to go there. Most of the radioactively polluted water was discharged in the ocean. That also predisposed marine life and biodiversity and the food that people get from the ocean to the same kind of nuclear fallout risk. You see, it is a very large scale damage that occurs in such episodes. But have we learned something from these accidents? Nothing. Because major nuclear accidents have all happened because there was a fault in the design of the equipment. But today, what are we doing? What are we doing? Today, we are removing the liability of supplier itself. We are protecting the suppliers from civil and criminal liability. Tomorrow, if the equipment is faulty, who will pay the price? Operator. That too to a certain upper limit. Only if it is 100 crore and above. Below that, nothing, no problem. So, is this not creating a danger when it comes to international nuclear liability norms? Yes, it is, definitely. The article is also giving you a data. Article says in the case of Chernobyl, the loss came out to be 21 lakh crore. In case of Fukushima, the loss was 46 lakh crore. But Shanti bill is putting an upper liability, upper limit, upper cap at 3,900 rupees crore, that too to be borne by operator. So compensation is much lesser than the actual damage. So what's the benefit? No benefit. Is there a safety concern? Definitely. Definitely. If companies are protected from liability, tomorrow they will take more risk. As a supplier, I am not being punished. Tomorrow, why will I invest more innovation in my material? I will never do that. I will seek my profit because I am a private company at the end of the day. And I will always go for financial intensives rather than focusing on safety protocol. And that is a problematic area, absolutely. That's a problematic area. And nuclear energy, I agree, is very important for India's energy landscape. I just told you right now it is contributing only 3%, broadly 8 gigawatts to India's total electricity generation. Past capacity targets have also not been achieved. And therefore, we have an ideology. By 2047, we have to create at least 100 gigawatts of nuclear energy, which is very tough to achieve, by the way. But to attract all this, to achieve all this aim, and to attract private investment, to benefit multinational nuclear suppliers to do business in India, if we compromise on public safety, then that also makes no sense. So the Shanti Act does open up the nuclear sector to liberalization, privatization, but it has really taken a step backwards in the direction of compensation, accountability, and safety of the victims. And that is something this article is trying to argue about. Yes, raising a critical ethical concern even under GS paper 4. Yes. So question, with reference to Shanti Act and the nuclear liability framework in India, consider these statements, please. 1. The Act allows private companies to operate nuclear power plants in India. Second, the Act removes operators' right to solution, to recourse against nuclear suppliers in the case of accidents caused by defective equipment. And 3, nuclear energy currently accounts for more than 10% of India's electricity generation. Which of these statements are correct? Vikash, Reshma, Shlok, World Cricket and Sadhana, and Kaushik and Terukula, Saurav answering so quickly. So quickly. Solutions, Shlok? Bacha, that's a very controversial question. Right now, the bill has already been passed. And in the wake of privatization, we have compromised on safety. Perhaps the more discussions take place, the more clarity emerges. But as of now, rather than revisiting this whole clause 46 of the Civil Nuclear Liabilities Act, there is no other statutory solution that I can think about. Okay, so who else is answering? Oh, so many of my students, aspirant, Vaibhav, Shlok, Eric. No split verdict. Yes, no Lokpal right now. Answer is A. Is the answer A? 1 and 2 are correct. Let's understand. First is correct. The Act allows private entities to operate nuclear power plants. Totally correct. If first is correct, then B can be eliminated. What about the second one? It removes operators' right to recourse against nuclear suppliers in the case of accidents. Correct. Correct. Third is correct. Totally wrong. Why wrong? Because it only provides less than 3%, about 8 gigawatts. So totally wrong, no? That means A is the right answer. So should I clap in that case? Yes, I must clap. Absolutely. Very well done, all of you. Very well done. Brilliant. Totally brilliant. That's 8 gigawatt, bache. 3% and 8 gigawatt respectively. Okay? In case you write it in an answer, never forget, bacha. 3% it contributes and 8 gigawatt it contributes, not 8%. Okay? All right. Very good, everyone. Excellent performance. Hika, AB, Sanghamitra, well done, bache. So what about Bulbul, Iba, Nigam, Zahir and Akhtar? Why didn't I see your answer? Kojumba is not here, I know that. Okay. Next article, Sumed, Adi, very good. Next article is very generalized article, but quite an important article because this is coming from GS paper 2. We are looking completely into international relations. Easy article. No data, no technicality. Only 3 minutes we should be able to summarize this article. What does this article say? This article is saying that global geopolitics is now completely changing. The world order is now completely changing. And India must adapt to this new world order by tweaking, changing its foreign policy and a new national strategy to adapt by a clear-cut duopolistic world. Yes, the world is a duopoly right now. We have used the word duopoly in the case of telecommunications, in the case of civil aviation. Now we are using this in the case of global geopolitics. The world is a duopoly divided between two powers. In the Western Hemisphere under the Dundro Doctrine, President Trump, and in the Eastern Hemisphere under salami slicing, string of pearls, and the 9-dash line by China. Yes, In this world, India therefore must recalibrate its priorities. Today, what is going on? In the world, we are witnessing a complete collapse, a complete crumble, a complete ossification of multilateral institutions like UN. Now, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Last year, the whole world was celebrating 80th anniversary of United Nations. Today, what happened suddenly? United Nations itself is a questionable body because President Trump decided to withdraw from UN and 66 other UN agencies. Same was followed by Israel immediately. It also withdrew, raising a question on its credibility. Second, organizations like WTO, organizations like WHO, organizations like Gavi, organizations like UNFCCC, like UN Women, like United Nations Peacekeeping Forces, like bodies like COP annual summit, especially for example COP30, institutions like G20, G7, UNSC, all are today under question because bodies like countries like America, Israel, and EU are not focusing on their proper performance and they are not listening to them. Second, the idea of strategic autonomy itself has been questioned today. Why? Because today multilateralism is weakening in the world. Countries are behaving in a very monopolistic manner. Look at America. Look at US. Whether the action of calling Operation Sindoor an Indo-Pak war valid? Whether the question of interfering in the case of Pahalgam terror attack by blaming India for attacking terrorists in Pakistan valid? Was financing Pakistan through International Monetary Fund bailouts and appointing Pakistan as a chairperson of one of the committees that works under United Nations Security Council valid? Was it valid for President Trump to capture Mr. Nicolas Maduro by conducting Operation Absolute Resolve on Venezuela, conquering all the oil reserves, and then forcing India, China to buy the same Venezuelan oil? Was it even valid? Was the Russian action of continuing attacks on Ukraine, openly demanding Donbass, valid? Was it a valid action by President Trump of capturing Cuban oil tankers, or for that matter, withdrawing from G20, or for that matter, interfering and saying that Ukraine must resign to Mr. Putin? Were all these things valid? They were not valid at all. That means multilateralism is under question. In fact, the very big economic imperialistic example here could be the 50% tax on India, the tariff on India. First 50%, and then a threat of 500% against Russian oil, and another 25% if India continues to have a deal with Iran, any kind of bilateral trade deal. Yes, is that a valid thing to do? Totally not. By breaking down the WTO most favored nation protocol, America has throughout broken laws. US China rivalry today is the biggest reality that shapes global politics. Absolutely. The Sir Creek issue. Yes, Thalweg principle. Brilliant, well reminded Vikash. Santosh totally. The idea of capturing Greenland by undermining NATO's authority. All this is invalid. And now it is US and China power game that is deciding what happens in the world politics. What should India do? India has therefore now been defined as a swing power, a word that this article is using. India has become a swing power. You may get a direct question on this in GS paper 2. Why is India a middle swing power? Because India, Brazil, Mexico, UK, all these have now become swing middle powers. They are oscillating between Russia, America, China. US, Russia, China. That's all they are trying to do. There's nothing else they are being able to do as such. India therefore should focus on economic growth, technology, and trade diplomacy. Now, why is the world changing so much? Why is the world a changed landscape? Because there is a decline of multilateralism. We all have seen that. United Nations and WTO are losing their influence. America is one by one withdrawing from all these institutions and also imposing unilateral tariff. China has become very powerful. Look at Chinese monopoly over supply chain of critical minerals, pharmaceutical API. China's manufacturing sector ability. China maintaining a positive trade balance despite the tariff from America. China being able to pressurize the countries by doing supply chain restriction of rare earth material, and at the same time China busy threatening areas like Taiwan, Operation Justice 2025. attacking sovereign areas of Japan, Senkaku, Yonaguni. What is China doing? China is showing its complete monopoly near Indo-Pacific and South and East China. So therefore, the rule-based multilateralism has become pointless today. Very good aspirant, pointless today. What about strategic autonomy? It's a good idea. Earlier, under Pandit Nehru, India would believe in non-alignment. That was valid because India never wanted to support any one power of the Cold War. Neither Russia, nor rather not Russia, that time it was USSR, Soviet Union, nor US. That led India to adopt non-alignment movement. But slowly, the world realities have changed. India understands that by practicing the older new alignment, we may miss on important trade and defense deals. For example, if India would have chosen to attack, by words or through emotion, Russia's behavior towards Ukraine, then India Russia relations would be upset. If India would have categorically discontinued its relation with US, then India would never be able to protect the Indo-Pacific from domination of China through bodies like Quad. So what can India do? Can't continue with non-alignment, can't be quiet. We have to be vocal for our own need, and that's why today we have switched over to NAM 2.0. Who said it last? Somebody was talking about it. Apex was saying, yes, NAM 2.0, strategic autonomy. That's what we are doing now. Why? Because US and China are mainly competing in technology and economic power. They are not competing when it comes to United Nations or United Nations Security Council. India sometimes, therefore, has to become the swing state now, swinging between major powers every now and then, trying to settle the apple cart of relations with first China, now US, and all the time, all along with Russia. Today, even if we have reduced our import of Russian oil for the first time very low in the last 3 years, we are still negotiating with Russia because if Russia is upset, we know that agreements like Relos agreement, agreements like the ones related to Sudarshan Chakra, SU 600, all of them will get compromised. Plus, the migration of Indian skilled labor to Russia, semi-skilled labor, that also gets disturbed. So India's relations right now are based on its new policy of multi-alignment based on strategic autonomy. Neither it is multi-alignment nor strategic autonomy only, it is a mix of both. Strategic autonomy which leads to multi-alignment because US keeps using tariff in its bilateral deals. China keeps dominating global manufacturing and trade. India faces pressure from both the sides. So the only solution for India is to focus on its technology and AI enabled skilled workforce. Maintain a balanced relation with Russia, defense, people to people, and oil energy security, plus maintain a relation with US to reduce tariff from say 15 to 18% and maintain a good trading relation with China to therefore not stop inputs that we need, imports that we need. Yes, API, pharmaceutical and other critical energy raw materials. Expand free trade agreements with Asia and Africa. Of course, India is expanding FTAs. We all know about India's past free trade agreements, starting from EU, mother of all, UK, Oman, Jordan, Defense Cooperation Dialogue, Saudi. Yes, then US bilateral trade deal, New Zealand, Japan, China. India is busy doing that already, but we only need to expand this further because in a world where global institutions are not working, FTAs are a much better replacement of that. So, at the same time, the whole big idea of India behind creating a balance between Quad, BRICS versus SCO also continues. The threat of de-dollarization that America is experiencing, India has to balance that also. At the same time, India has to also tell China and Russia, I am not aiming at direct de-dollarization. No. Although I strongly encourage the idea of doing business in local currency. I will. In fact, I have told you multiple times, India purchases Russian oil in yuan, not in dollar, which is okay. India's UPI, online currency payments are popularizing in most countries now. That is good. But India is not openly supporting de-dollarization because we can't make US unhappy either. So trade diplomacy and ideological leadership is the only way out because the world is no more an ideologically rightful place to be in. It's a very messy place. Totally, Vikash. FTAs with Ethiopia as well. Correct. Yes. So that's what this article has to say, that through trained manpower, more investment in AI, more investment in semiconductor. India must combine this with strategic autonomy plus with multi-alignment that comes better through FTA. Earlier also multi-alignment was there. Now nobody is asking, but you can ask me. It's your right. That earlier also it was multi-alignment. So what is changing now? Multi-alignment is same. It is changing from a belief in multilateral global bodies like UN, WTO and WHO to multi-alignment through FTAs now, free trade agreements. So from global power blocks, we are shifting towards regional power blocks. That's the main pitch of this article. Okay. Question, Shlok answers. Yes, absolutely. Very beautiful statement, Saurav. With reference to evolution of India's foreign policy since independence, consider these statements. 1. The idea of strategic autonomy in India's foreign policy originated during the Cold War in the context of NAM. 2. The Uruguay round negotiations, which eventually led to the creation of WTO, concluded before the end of the Cold War. 3. The Quad was revived in late 2010 with India as one of the founding participants. Is it a split verdict? Really? Majority goes with D? Are you sure? Majority is going with D. You mean all three statements are correct, 1, 2 and 3? Sure. Sure. Yes, Madhav, Hika, Shlok, no split verdict. Everybody thinks it is D. Sadhna, Vikash. Yes. Any answers from you, Zahir? Eric? What's your statement? Yes, Sitaram. Bacha, what's your answer here? Terukula says, okay. Ramu, Urupam have answered. Okay. Are you sure? But now someone is saying B. What to do? I'm so confused. What to do? So split verdict or not? Sure or not, but changing answer is not good. No, that's what Shlok is saying. Yeah, good, honest. Split has come. Should we call the Lokpal? Should we call the Lokpal? Now the Renaissance is coming. Now we are realizing what went wrong. Everything was looking very good before the Lokpal interfered. Everything was looking very nice. All are correct. What is there? If we think it is correct, it is correct. We have read the statement, but we missed out on some technical details in the statements. Yes, because we are in a hurry. Even the best of players can make mistakes, no, if they are in a hurry. What went wrong here? Is D the right answer? Definitely it is not the right answer. Then what should be the right answer? Let's look at the statement. 1 is correct, completely correct. Indeed, strategic autonomy of today has evolved from NAM of yesterday. That was the foreign policy India adopted during Pandit Nehru's regime, because India never wanted to take one side during the Cold War. And when was the Cold War concluded? Bigger question is, when did the Cold War end? Thousands of times we have discussed, Cold War ended in 1991. India adopted liberalization, privatization in 1991. Yes, Project Elephant also started in 1991. How many times we have discussed then? Acha, that's the case? 1991 only, right? So then look at the second statement now. What is it saying? Uruguay round negotiations. Did they lead to the conclusion of World Trade Organization? Yes. That's why you went wrong. You only took the main part of the article. Am I audible to everyone? Lavish is saying I'm not audible. What happened, Lavish? Any issue with your system? Can you refresh the link to any other student? Shlok? Sitaram, Madhav, please confirm. Am I audible to everyone? Can anybody please confirm, am I audible? Is everyone having an issue or only Lavish is having? Yes, I'm audible, Reshma is saying. Lavish, please refresh your link, but something is wrong at your end, okay? All right. Coming back. Uruguay round. Did it lead to WTO? Yes. That's why you thought it is correct, but you have to read the details also, no? Uruguay round began in 1986. Uruguay round had started in 1986, the same year in which Bhopal gas tragedy happened. But when was it concluded? The Uruguay round got concluded in 1994. When was WTO established? WTO was established as late as 1995. WTO was established as late as 1995. Uruguay round was concluded in 1994. When did the Cold War end? When? Cold War ended in 1991. Still, do you think that the statement is correct? Still, is the statement correct? What comes before, 1994 or 1991? 1994 or 1991? What comes before? What comes before 1991? Is the statement correct? Is it correct? It's wrong. What about the third one? The quadrilateral dialogue, it's correct only. Whether it's US, India, Japan, Australia, it is correct. And in 2017, it was revived finally. After 2010, that is in 2017, it was revived once again. And India plays a very crucial part here because India knows to balance Chinese aggression in Indo-Pacific, we must cooperate with America. No matter how much America troubles us through tariff, but we can't lose US as the trading partner. After all, it's about Indo-Pacific security. Why do you think we are spending so much money on Great Nicobar? Why do we want to send troops to monitor Strait of Malacca? Why did the Coco Island controversy happen? Why? 1991-92, same period, yes. So, then what? What is the right answer in that case? B should be the right answer, not D, no? So, what is the right answer? B is the right answer. Is that clear to everyone? What is the mistake and what do we learn? We only learn one thing. Only learn one thing from here. While reading the statements, we know we have a time limitation, but we must make sure we read the statement analytically. And what do you mean by analytically? When you analyze something, you break it down into small, small parts. It's called, what is analysis? How do you define the word analysis? Analysis means to mentally digest a piece of information. If I take a Domino's burger this big, am I a monster? Will I be able to eat 8-inch burger pizza like that? Suppose if I take a pizza, can't happen na. Even if I eat, will I digest it single like that? No. It will be broken down fabric, by nutrition in my body. This is called digestion. When the same digestion happens with a piece of knowledge in your brain, that is called analyzing. Break it down. Break it down. Sometimes the bigger picture of the statements is easy. When you break it down, it becomes easy. It becomes different, okay? Is that clear? No problem. Well tried. Let's remember. Minute detail. Very good. Now the next and one of the last articles, Lok Sabha has passed another bill. This is called Industrial Relations Code Bill. Why is it passed? Now, properly, it is not even a bill. It is not any kind of a technical bill. It is not a major policy change. It is just a clarification that Lok Sabha has issued. Why has it issued the clarification? Because we all understand, for the purpose of GS Paper 1 and GS Paper 2, vulnerable components, Indian society, that recently the Indian government has replaced an existing set of labor laws by a consolidated set of 4 labor codes in India. Which are these 4 labor codes? We all know by now, starting from Social Security Code 2020 to Occupational Hazard and Security to Industrial Relations to wage labor or whatever. All these 4 codes have now replaced the existing elaborate set of 29 labor laws. Correct? Very good, Vikash. But what happens among these 4 labor codes? There is one that is causing too much tension in people. This one is Industrial Relations Code Bill. What is the confusion? People are saying that ever since this new bill has been passed, what will happen to the earlier complaints that were pending in front of the government? What will happen? Yes, very good. Yesterday we saw a kind of Bharat Bandh, a major protest that was happening through so many industrial bodies in India. Absolutely, it's related to that. Very good. Strikes and unions and all of that. Absolutely correct. In fact, this also leads us to the same logic. Throughout, laborers in India, industrial bodies in India keep complaining that India is one country which, despite being a founding member of International Labour Organization back in 1919, has still not ratified complete 8 conventions of ILO. And I know Vikash can tell me immediately which are these 2 conventions that India has not ratified. Total 8 are mandatory. India has ratified only 6. Which 2 are missing? Now, whichever these two are missing, in fact, both these are related to same problem, trade union, union law. And the same thing is being compromised even in the form of four labor laws. The sentiment that the people have in India is that the government never in India wants to create industrial unionism. The government is doing everything to avoid the workers from forming unions. Very good, Vikash. 87 and 98. India hasn't signed these. Why? Because India doesn't want to, very good, Ramu. India doesn't want to give people the right or the liberty to form trade unions. Because bargaining power increases if you have trade union. The government says, why do you need bargaining power when I'm giving you social security code? In fact, industrial lobbies are protesting against all these four codes. They are saying by creating these four codes, the government plans to independently give benefit to each and every laborer. Direct benefit transfer, direct subsidy. They are trying their best so that we don't get united. Because if we are united, we have more bargaining power and then the government cannot face us. That's the whole big controversy. So what's the main point of this article, Bache? Very small main point. Main point, very good. Everybody remembers. A big round of applause. 87 and 98. Brilliant, bache. Main point is that Industrial Relations Code Amendment 26 has been passed to remove a legal confusion and to ensure continuity of labor laws that were replaced by Industrial Relations Code 2020. All these four laws. It is just a clarification. It is not a major policy change. Now let's understand why has it been passed. Listen carefully. Because yes, same problem. Very good, Shlok. The underlying undertone of this again becomes the same Marxian logic. If the workers of the world unite, if they experience a phenomena called class consciousness, class for itself, then they are the biggest enemy and the biggest force to contend with on the part of the bourgeoisie. You can, yes, relate it to Marxism. Very good. In fact, if the UPSC paper, if I was making a question, I would have made a question in GS paper 3 on exactly this. How do you relate the modern industrial relations code controversy to the Marxian principle of class consciousness? Pakka, I would have done that. So very well, very good question. Very good. Now, what has happened? The Industrial Relations Code 2020, it has merged and replaced three old labor laws. Listen everyone carefully. What has changed? There are four new labor laws. Even among these labor laws, there is one specific one, Industrial Relations Code 2020. What has it done? This Industrial Relations Code has now, what has it done? It has merged and replaced three existing labor laws. Which are these? Trade Union Act 1926, Industrial Employment Standing Orders 1946, and Industrial Dispute Act 1947. This was a part of government's labor law reform through four labor codes. Why today the change is needed? Because the Industrial Relations Code had a section, a very particular section that is known as Section 104. This is known as a saving provision. Okay? What is it known as? A saving provision. Section 104 is known as a saving provision. What do you mean by saving provision? Let me explain. It means that some people think that the government has today changed the law. But the government has changed the law directly without parliament passing a proper order. And the government feels that now the existing controversies that were there, all the cases that were pending, complaints that were pending, will now completely get lapsed. Now the government will not focus on them because the new code has come. And the existing labor conflicts, existing controversies that were under Trade Union Act, Industrial Dispute Act, all of them the government will not take care of because the older laws have been reformed. So now everything will start from scratch, but that is not a reality. That's not a reality. That's not what the government says. The government says Section 104 of the Industrial Labor Code contains a provision called saving provision. What is saving provision? Saving provision is a repeal and saving provision. It is doing two things. One, it officially replaces the three earlier laws which I mentioned. It means all these laws will stop operating after the code comes into force, not before that. None of the existing complaints are lapsing right now. Second thing, it ensures continuity, saving provision. Although the laws are changed, but the existing rule will apply in the case of ongoing cases. Agreements, actions that were taken earlier will continue to remain valid even if the older laws get replaced by the new ones. So don't have to be worried. Don't have to be scared. Don't presume that if you were a victim of a court case under the previous Trade Union Act or Industrial Dispute Act, now it has gone. The new Industrial Labor Code has come. That means my case will lapse. Now I will not get justice. Not like that. Not like that. There is a provision in this new code, 104, saving provision. If you are already caught up in a court case, if there is an ongoing case, if you are a victim, if agreement is going on, it will still be continued under the new code, and the decisions that you were given earlier will continue to be valid. So nothing will change when it comes to the cases that are ongoing and the justice that has been given earlier. We are not going to cancel that, okay? They will remain valid, and that is highlighted by the savings provision under the new Industrial Relations Code. To just clarify that, the government has issued an amendment. A very small example I can give you here. A small example is, imagine there is a labor dispute going. The dispute started before 2019, before these four new labor laws came. Okay. And the dispute was undergoing inside Industrial Dispute Act. Now Industrial Dispute Act is not there. It has been changed by the new Industrial Relations Code. But does that mean the case stops? No. Does that mean the decision that was given earlier is invalid today? No. It will continue despite the new Industrial Relations Code framework. So people do not have to be insecure. They do not have to worry that their justice will be cancelled in retrospect. That's not going to happen. Don't worry, that's not going to happen, okay? This is where I have summarized the ones that are changed. Now the last, almost one of the last, but a very interesting article, GS Paper 2, Polity and Governance. I have picked it up from the main news page. What does it say? This says that there is a controversy going on in India right now, bache. You know that. One nation, one election controversy. Who remembers? One nation, one election controversy. What does this article say? Give me last 5 minutes, please. This article is saying simultaneous elections should be held in Lok Sabha and state assemblies. That is a belief of many people in India today. And the former Chief Justice of India, who is the current Chief Justice? The 53rd Chief Justice. Justice? Who is the current Chief Justice in India? 53rd Chief Justice of India. Who is he? We all know. 53rd Chief Justice in India. Who is he? What is his name then? Justice Surya Kant. Very good, Reshma. Who was the previous one? Justice B.R. Gavai. So here, very good. Here the statement is being given by Justice B.R. Gavai, the former Chief Justice of India. He has openly told a parliamentary committee that holding simultaneous elections does not, I repeat, does not violate the basic structure of Indian Constitution and federalism. Why did he say that it is constitutional? Listen carefully. Very good, everyone. Listen, Urupam and Shakti. Why he said that? He said this because he is saying the proposal of one nation, one election only changes the timing and the method of election. It is not changing democracy itself. The right of voters are the same. The powers of Election Commission under Article 324 and 326 are the same. Parliament has the power to make such a law, so what's wrong in that? Mechanism like no confidence motion still continue to be valid. So the government accountability is not even getting affected. So according to Justice B.R. Gavai, this amendment is constitutionally valid. It is not going to change any basic constitutional structure. And according to him, if there is a disagreement, then it is unnecessary. But does everybody believe in this logic? Sorry, no. Because some former Chief Justices from India like Justice U.U. Lalit, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, they are saying it is violating the basic structure of the Constitution. There is another group, including Justice Ranjan Gogoi, Justice Chandrachud, Justice Khekar, and Justice B.R. Gavai, who say it does not violate the basic structure. There is a split. There is a clear-cut split. So there is a legal debate that is happening right now. And what is the controversial bill all about? The bill that's making this controversy, it is the 129th Amendment Bill. I repeat, 129th Amendment Bill of the Constitution. It says, let us synchronize. Let us create the same timing and same method for election of the Lok Sabha and State Assembly. Right now, it is a legal battle, so it is being reviewed under a joint committee of the Parliament. But This is raising an even bigger question in India. What do you mean by the basic structure of the constitution? Now, all this goes back to the Keshwanand Bharati case of 1973, the most important court case in India. Under the Keshwanand Bharati versus State of Kerala case 1973, it is very important that the government and the Supreme Court respect the basic structure of Indian constitution. In fact, the very reason why this court case is known as basic structure doctrine case is exactly that is why. Because it means we must respect the basic principle of Indian constitution. And today, creating a common electoral roll will also perhaps mean same timing for local body, assembly and Lok Sabha election. People are saying it will reduce administrative workload. It will improve administrative functioning. So, what's wrong in that? But there is a dispute that's going on. There is a dispute that's going on, and there is nothing we can do about it. Absolutely. We are almost done with the Hindu newspaper. There is a last quick mention about how there are two breeds of dogs. Now, what are these two animal dog breeds about? These are indigenous Indian local breeds of dogs. For a very long time, even when it comes to Indian military, say for example, Assam Rifles, we were using services of animals. In fact, in the Republic Day parade this year, we have also showcased which animals are key to Indian Army. Imagine the example of the Bactrian camel from Ladakh, the double hump camel. We saw that. You can get a question on that. Similarly, here there are two indigenous Indian dog breeds from Tamil Nadu and Nagaland, respectively. Now, they are the ones who will be included, and India's foreign dog squad that was used in defense will now be removed. Okay, that's small thing. So I just want you to know these two names. The government is saying let's create more indigenous involvement in defense forces. Yes, which are these two breeds? One is Tangkhul Hui. Tangkhul Hui that comes from Nagaland, Manipur area, and the other is Kombai breed from Tamil Nadu. Yes, and now both these breeds will be used by Assam Rifles. Remember, do not forget, Assam Rifles is also India's oldest paramilitary force, established in 1835. I want you to remember. India's oldest paramilitary force, Assam Rifles, 1835. It will now use Indian dog breeds, Thangkhul Khui from Manipur, Nagaland, and Kombai from Tamil Nadu. These are actually much better, more sustainable, more affordable, more easily available than foreign breeds. And therefore, the government is now going to switch over them, okay? Because they are Indian breeds, they are easy to use, they are more disease resistant, and they are more adaptable to the local climate, okay? And therefore, they can be used successfully when it comes to security across border areas. Is that clear? Is that clear? That's it from my side. And now the discretionary power that I was exercising, which everybody was complaining about, the answer is right here. The answer is right here. I think now the clarity has come who was right, who wasn't right, okay? All right. Thank you for clarifying, Eric. Hui means dog. I think now nobody will forget. Hui means dog. So in case we get such a question, you never know. Sometimes questions can come from anywhere. And no, it's not left. It's right here in front of you. So that's it from my side. Okay. No answer is pending now. I'm showing you right here. Now you can self-verify. Oh, come on. Now you can self-verify. Okay. That's really sweet of you. Code name Elite. I'm humbled by that statement. Okay. So now I'll take your leave, and tomorrow, Saturday, yes, I'll see you at 9:30 a.m. And today I got some emails from so many people. It was about 3 or 4 students. I don't know them personally, but they are still struggling to find the Telegram channel. And I don't know why is that happening, because I'm showing the code every day. But still, if we can help each other, because I don't know exactly why are some people still struggling to find the channel. Okay, I'll also try to include more of those codes here tomorrow in the PPT. I hope everybody can find it. And yes, we are bracing up for interesting Zoom sessions coming up, and the January current affairs, and also science and technology current affairs. All of them are coming your way soon. So God bless you. Lots of blessings, lots of love to each one of you who has been with me. Thank you. and God bless you. And I will see you tomorrow. If you want, I can share with you Terukula. I can do that tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow I can share that also. It's an official ID. I will share it. No problem. Okay. See you tomorrow then. Remember, flat 50% off on all our sale programs. Tell your friends, tell your colleagues. You never know, somebody may find this so beneficial. It's a rank booster sale. 50% off on all our courses right now. Limited period offer. Okay. So thank you and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.